Shalom and welcome to Torah and Coffee. We are in Genesis chapter 18 through Genesis chapter 22. And the Haftarah will be 2 Kings chapter 4, 1 through 37. So come on along on the journey and enjoy Genesis with me. Bring your coffee. Or your tea if you prefer tea. So, let's go on a journey. Genesis or BeritHadasah, chapter 18, starting on verse 1. Yah appeared to him by the terebinth of Mamre. He was sitting at the entrance of the tent as the day grew hot. Looking up, he saw 3 men standing near him. As soon as he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to greet them and bowing to the ground. He said, "My lords, if it please you, do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought. Bathe your feet and recline under the tree, and let me fetch a morsel of bread that you may refresh yourselves. Then go on, seeing that you have come your servant's way." They replied, "Do as you have said." Abraham hastened into the tent to Sarah and said, "Quick, 3 seahs of choice flour, knead and make cake." Then Abraham ran to the herd, took a calf, tender and joyous, and gave it to the servant boy, who hastened to prepare it. He took curds and milk and the calf that had been prepared, and set these before them, and he waited on them under the tree as they ate. Then they said to him, "Where is your wife Sarah?" And he replied, "There in the tent." Then one said, "I will return to you next year, and your wife Sarah shall have a son." Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years. Sarah had stopped having the periods of women, and Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "Now that I am withering, I am to have enjoyment with my husband so old?" Then Yah said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, 'Shall I in truth bear a child, old as I am?' Is anything too wondrous for Yah? I will return to you at the same time next year, and Sarah will have a son." Sarah lied, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was frightened. But she replied, "You did laugh." The men set out from there and looked down toward Sodom. Abraham walking with them to see them off. Now God said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do?" Since Abraham is to become a great and populous nation, and all the nations of the earth are to bless themselves by him. For I have singled him out, that he may instruct his children and his posterity to keep the way of Yah by doing what is just and right, in order that Yah may bring about for Abraham and what he had promised him. 20. Then Yah said, "The outrage of Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin so grave. I will go down to see whether they have acted altogether according to the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will take note." The men went on from there to Sodom, while Abraham remained standing before Yah. Abraham came forward and said, "Will you sweep away the innocent along with the guilty? What if there should be 50 innocent within the city? Will you then wipe out the place and not forgive it for the sake of the innocent 5 who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to bring death upon the innocent as well as the guilty, so that innocent and guilt we fail alike. Far be it from you, shall not the judge of all the earth deal justly? And Yah answered, I will find within the city of Sodom 50 innocent ones. I will forgive the whole place for their sake. Abraham spoke up, saying, Here I venture to speak to my Lord. I am but dust and ashes. What if the 50 innocent should lack 5? Will you destroy the whole city for one of the 5? And he answered, I will not destroy it if I find 45 there. But he said to him again and said, What if 40 should be found there? And he answered, I will not do it for the sake of the 40. Verse 30. And he said, Let my Lord be angry if I go on. What if 30 should be found there? And he answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, I venture again to speak to my Lord. What if 20 should be found there? And he answered, I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. And he said, Let my Lord be angry if I speak but this last time. What if 10 should be found there? And he answered, I will not destroy for the sake of the 10. When Yah had finished speaking to Abraham, he departed, and Abraham returned to his place. Chapter 19. Now the 2 angels arrived in Sodom in the evening, as Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to get them, and bowing low with his face to the ground. Excuse me. He said, Please, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house to spend the night, and bathe your feet, then you may be on your way early. But they said, No, we will spend the night in the square. But he urged them strongly, so they turned his way and entered his house. He prepared a feast for them and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. They had not yet lain down when the townspeople, the men of Sodom, young and old, all the people, to the last man, gathered about the house. When they shouted to Lot and said to him, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may intimidate with them. So Lot went out to them, to the entrance, shut the door behind him, and said, I beg you, my friends, do not commit such a wrong. Look, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them as you please, but do not do anything to these men, since they have come under the shelter of my roof. But they said, Stand back. The fellow, they said, came here as an alien, and already he acts the ruler. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. And they pressed hard against the person of Lot and moved forward to break the door. But the men stretched out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. 11. And the people who were at the entrance of the house, young and old, they struck with blinding light, so that they were hopeless to find the entrance. Then the men said to Lot, "Whom else have you here? Sons-in-law, your sons and daughters, or anyone else that you have in the city? Bring them out of this place. For we are about to destroy this place, because the outcry against them before Yah is becoming so great that Yah has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who had married his daughters, and said, "Up, get out of the place, for Yah is about to destroy the city." But he seems as his sons-in-law to his sons-in-laws as one who chests. At dawn break, the angels urged Lot on, saying, "Up, take your wife and your two remaining daughters, lest you be swept away because of the iniquity of the city." Still he delayed. So the man seized his hand and the hands of his wife and his two daughters in Yah's mercy on him, and brought him out and left him outside the city. Then when they had brought them outside, one said, "Flee for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the hills, lest you be swept away." But Lot said to them, "Oh no, my Lord, you have been so gracious to your servant, and have already shown me so much kindness in order to save my life. But I cannot flee to the hills, lest the disaster overtake me and I die." 20. Look, that town there is near enough to flee to. It is a little place. Let me flee there. It is such a little place, and let my life be saved. He replied, "Very well, I will grant you this favor too, and I will not annihilate the town of which you have spoken. Hurry, flee there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there." Hence the town came to be called Zoar. As the sun rose upon the earth, and Lot entered Zoar, Yah rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur fire from Yah out of heaven. He annihilated those cities and the entire plain, and all the inhabitants of the city and the vegetation of the ground. Lot's wife looked back, and she thereupon turned into a pillar of salt. Next morning, Abraham hurried to the place where he had stood before Yah, and looking down toward Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain, he saw the smoke of the land rising like the smoke of a king. 28 again. And looking down toward Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain, he saw the smoke of the land rising like the smoke of a kiln. Thus it was that when Yah destroyed the cities of the plain and annihilated the cities where Lot had dwelt, Yah was mindful of Abraham and removed Lot from the midst of the upheaval. Verse 30. Lot went up from Zoar and settled in the hill country with his two daughters, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he and his daughters lived in a cave. And the older one said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is not a man on earth to consort with us in the way of all the world." Come, let us make our father drink wine, and let us lie with him, that he may maintain life through our father. That night they made their father drink wine, and the older one went in and lay with her father. He did not know when she lay down or when she rose up. The next day the older one said to the younger, See, I lay with father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight also, and you go and lie with him, that we may maintain life through our father. The night also they made the father drink wine, and the younger one went and lay with him. He did not know when she lay down or when she rose up. Thus the two daughters of Lot came to be with child by their father. The older one bore a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today, and the younger also bore a son. She called his name Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Amorites for today. Chapter 20. Abraham journeyed from there to the region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While he was sojourning in Gerar, Abraham said to Sarah, his wife, She is my sister. So King Abimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. But Yah came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, Are you to die because of the woman that you have taken? For she is a married woman. Now Abimelech had not approached her. He said, O Yah, will you save people even though innocent? He himself said to me, She is my sister, and she also said, He is my brother. When did this? My heart was blameless, and my hands were clean. And Yah said to him in a dream, I know that you did this with blameless heart, and so I kept you from sinning against me. That was why I did not let you touch her. Therefore restore the man's wife, since he is a Navi. He will intercede for you to save your life. If you fail to restore her, know that you shall die, you and all of yours. 7. Therefore restore the man's wife, since he is a Navi. He will intercede for you to save your life. If you fail to restore her, know that you shall die, you and all that are yours. Early next morning, Abimelech called his servants and told them all that has happened, and the men were greatly frightened. Then Abimelech summoned Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us? What's wrong have I done that you should bring so great a guilt upon me and my kingdom? You have done to me things that ought not to be done. What then? Abimelech demanded of Abraham. What's your purpose in doing these things? I thought, said Abraham, surely there is no fear of Yah in this place, and they shall kill me because of my wife. And besides, she is in truth my sister, my father's daughter, though not my mother's, and she became my wife. So when Yah made me wander from my father's house, I said to her, Let this be the kindness that you shall do me. Whatever place we come to, say there of me, He is my brother. Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham, and he restored his wife Sarah to him. And Abimelech said, Here, my land is before you. Settle wherever you please. And to Sarah he said, I will herewith give your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. This will serve you as vindication before all who were with you, and you are cleared before everyone. And Abraham then prayed to Yah, and Yah healed Abimelech and his wife and his slave girls, so that they were children. For Yah had closed fast every womb of the household of Abimelech because of Sarah, the wife of Abraham. Chapter 21. Yah took note of Sarah as he had promised, and Yah did for Sarah as he had spoken. Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the set time of which Yah had spoken. Abraham gave his newborn son, whom Sarah had borne him, the name Yitzhak. And when his son Yitzhak was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him, as Yah had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Yitzhak was born to him. Sarah said, Yah has brought me laughter. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. And she added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would suckle children, yet I have borne a son in his old age. The child grew up and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on the day that Yitzhak was weaned. Sarah saw the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham plain. Verse 10. She said to Abraham, cast out the slave woman and her son, for the son of the slave shall not share in the inheritance with my son Yitzhak. The matter distressed Abraham greatly, for it concerns a son of his. But Yah said to Abraham, do not be distressed over the boy of your slave. Whatever Sarah tells you, do as she says, for it is through Yitzhak that offering shall be continued for you. As for the son of the slave woman, I will make a nation of him, too, for he is your seed. Early next morning, Abraham took some bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He placed them over her shoulder and together with her child, and sent her away, and she wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water was gone from the skin, she left the child under one of the bushes, and went and sat at the distance, a bowshot away, for she thought, let me not look on as the child dies. And sitting thus afar, she burst into tears. Yah heard the cry of the boy, and an angel of Yah called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for Yah has heeded the cry of the boy where he is. Come, lift up the boy and hold him by the hand, for I will make a great nation of him. Then Yah opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went and filled the skin with water, and let the boy drink. Yah was with the boy, and he grew up. He dwelt in the wilderness and became a bowman. 21. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. After that time, Abimelech and Phicol, chief of the troops, said to Abraham, Yah is very good in everything that you do. Therefore swear to me here by Yah that you will not deal falsely with me or with my kids and kin, but will deal with me and with the land in which you have sojourned as loyally as I have done with you. And Abraham said, I swear it. Then Abraham reproached Abimelech for a well of water, which the servants of Abimelech had seized. But Abimelech said, I do not know who did this. You did not tell me, nor have I heard of it until today. Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a pact. Abraham then set 7 ewes of the flock by themselves, and Abimelech said to Abraham, What mean these 7 ewes which you have set apart? He replied, verse 30, he replied, You are to accept these 7 ewes from me as proof that I dug this well. Hence the place is called Beersheba, for there the two of them swore an oath. When they had concluded a pact at Beersheba, Abimelech, Phicol, chief of the troops, departed and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk at Beersheba and invoked there the name of Yah, the everlasting God. And Abraham resided in the land of the Philistines a long time. Chapter 22. Sometime afterwards, Yah put Abraham to the test. He said to him, Abraham, and he answered, Here I am. And he said, Take your son, your favorite one, Yitzhak, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the heights that I will point out to you. So early the next morning, Abraham saddled his ass and took with him 2 of his servants and his son Yitzhak. He split the wood for the burnt offering, and he set out for the place of which Yah had told him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place from afar. Then Abraham said to his servants, You stay here with the ass. The boy and I will go up there. We will worship, and we will return to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering, and put it on his son Yitzhak. He himself took the firestone and the knife, and the two walked off together. Then Yitzhak said to his father Abraham, Father, and he answered, Yes, my son. And he said, Here are the firestone and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering? And Abraham said, Yah will see to the sheep for the burnt offering, my son. And the two of them walked on together. They arrived at the place of which Yah had told him. Abraham built a mizpah there. He laid out the wood. He bound his son Yitzhak. He laid him on the mizpah on top of the wood. Then, and Abraham picked up the knife to slay his son. The angel of Yah called to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. He answered, Here I am. And he said, Do not raise your hand against the boy, or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear Yah, since you have not withheld your son, your favorite one, from me. When Abraham looked up, his eyes fell upon the ram, caught in the thicket by the horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named the site Adonai Jireh, whence the present saying, On the mount of Yah there is vision. The angel of Yah called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, By myself I swear, Yah declares, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your favorite one, I will bestow my blessings upon you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven and the sands on the seashore, and your descendants shall seize the gates of the foes. All the nations of the earth shall bless themselves by your descendants, because you have obeyed my command. Abraham then returned to his servants, and they departed together to Beersheba, and Abraham stayed in Beersheba. 20. Sometime later, Abraham told Milcah, 20 again. Sometime later, Abraham was told, Milcah too has born children to your brother Nahor. Uz is the firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aram, and Jezeb, and Hazor, Pildah, Chitlath, and Bethuel. Bethuel became the father of Rivkah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubines, whose name was Rumah, also bore children, Kebash, Gaam, Taish, and Makkah. This concludes the reading of the Torah. Let's go to the Haftarah. We're turning to 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 4, 1 through 37. Second Kings 4, 1 through 37. A certain woman, the wife of one of the disciples of the Navian, cried out to Elisha, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know how your servant revered Yah, and now a creditor is coming to seize my 2 children as slaves. Elisha said to her, What have I to do with you? Tell me, what have you in your house? She replied, Your maidservant has nothing at all in the house except a jug of oil. Go, he said, and borrow vessels outside from all your neighbors, empty vessels, as many as you can. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your children, and pour oil into all the vessels, removing each one as it is filled. She went away and shut the door behind her and her children. They kept bringing vessels to her, and she kept pouring. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, Bring me another vessel. He answered her, There are no more vessels, and the oil stopped. She came and told the man of Yah, and he said, Go sell the oil, pay your debt, and you and your children can live on the rest. One day Elisha visited Shunem. A wealthy woman lived there, and she urged him to have a meal. And whenever he passed, he would stop there for a meal. Once she said to her husband, I am sure it is the holy man of Yah who comes this way regularly. Let us make a small enclosure upon upper chamber and place a bed, a table, a chair, and a menorah there for him, so that he can stop there whenever he comes to us. 11. One day he came there. He retired to the upper chamber and lay down there. He said to his servant Gehazi, call that Shunammite woman. He called her, and she stood before him. He said to him, tell her, you have gone to all this trouble for us. What can we do for you? Can we speak on your behalf to the king or to the army commander? She replied, I live among my own people. What then can be done for her? He asked. The fact is, said Gehazi, she has no son, and her husband is old. Call her, he said. He called her, and she stood in the doorway. And Elisha said, at this season next year, you shall be embracing a son. She replied, please, my lord, man of Yah, do not delude your maidservant. The woman conceived and bore a son at the same season, the following year, as Elisha had assured her. The child grew up. One day he went out to his father among the reapers. Suddenly he cried to his father, oh, my head, he said to a servant, carry him to his mother. He picked him up and brought him to his mother, and the child sat on her lap until noon, and he died. 21. She took him up and laid him on the bed of the She picked him up and laid him on the bed of the man of Yah, and left him and closed the door. Then she called to her husband, please send me one of the servants and one of the she-asses, so I can hurry to see the man of Yah and back. But he said, why are you going to him today? It is neither new moon nor Shabbat. She answered, it's all right. She had the ass saddled and said to her servant, urge the beast on. See that I don't slow down unless I tell you. She went on until she came to the man of Yah on Mount Carmel. When the man of Yah saw her from afar, he said to his servant Gehazi, there is the Shunammite woman. Go hurry toward her and ask her, how are you? How is your husband? How is your child? We are well, she replied. But when she came up to the man of Yah on the mountain, she clasped his feet. Gehazi stepped forward to push her away, but the man of Yah said, leave her alone, for she is in let her alone, for she is in bitter distress, and Yah has hidden it from me and has not told me. Then she said, did I ask my Lord for a son? Didn't I say, don't mislead me? He said to Gehazi, tie up your skirt. take my staff in your hand and go. If you meet anyone, do not greet him, and if anyone greets you, do not answer him, and place my staff on the face of the boy. Excuse me. But the boy's mother said, as Yah lives and as you live, I will not leave you. So he arose and followed her. Gehazi had gone on before them, and he had placed the staff on the boy's face, but there was no sound or response. He turned back to meet him and told him, the boy has not awakened. Elijah came into the house, and there was the boy laid out on the couch. Excuse me. He went in, shut the door behind the two of them, and prayed to Yah. Then he mounted the bed and placed himself over the top. He put his mouth on his mouth, his eyes on its eyes, and his hands on its hands, as he bent over it, and the body of the child became warm. He sat down, walked once and down the room, then mounted and bent over him. Thereupon the boy sneezed 7 times, and the boy opened his eyes. Elijah called Gehazi and said, call the Shunammite woman, and he called her. When she came to him, he said, pick up your son. She came and fell at his feet and bowed low to the ground. Then she picked up her son and left. This concludes the Haftarah. Let's go see what the BeritHadasah has for us today. The BeritHadasah, also known as the New Testament. Well, what do we have here? We are in several different books. We are in Luke chapter 17, verses 26 and 27, Romans 9, 6 through 9, Galatians 4, 21 to 31, Hebrews chapter 6, verses 13 through 20, James 2, 14 to 24, and 2 Peter 2, 4 through 10. So, let's go to the first one, which is Luke 17, verse 26 and 27. Also, at the time of the Son of Man, it will be just as it was in the time of Noah. People ate and drank, and men and women married right up to the day Noah entered the ark. Then the flood came and destroyed them all. Wow. Well, I'm going to read in other words. Likewise, as it was in the time of Lot, people ate and drank and bought and sold, planted and built. But the day Lot left Sodom, fire and sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. So I kind of went past it, but I think it was appropriate. Let's go to Romans chapter 9, okay, verse 6 through 9. Romans 9, 6 through 9. But the present condition of Israel does not mean that the word of God has failed, for not everyone from Israel is truly part of Israel. Indeed, not all the descendants of the seed of Abraham. Rather, what is to be called your seed will be in Yitzhak. In other words, it is not the physical children who are the children of God, but the children the promise refers to, whom are concentrated seed For this is what the promise said. At the time said, I will come and Sarah will have a son. Oh, thank you. And then we go to Galatians. Galatians chapter 4, 21 through 31. Galatians 4, 21 to 31. Tell me, you who want to be in the subjection to the system, the results from perverting the Torah into legalism. Don't you hear what the Torah itself says? It says that Abraham had two sons, one by the slave woman and one by the free woman. The one by the slave woman was born according to the limited capabilities of human beings, but the one by the free woman was born through the miracle working power of God, fulfilling his promise. Now, to make an application on these things, the two women are two continents. One is from Mount Sinai and bears children of slavery. This is Hagar. Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia. She corresponds to the present Jerusalem, for she serves as a slave along with her children. But Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. For the Tanakh says, rejoice, you barren woman, who does not bear children, but break forth and shout, you who are not in labor, for the deserted wife will have more children than the one whose husband is with her. 28. You, brothers, like Yitzhak, are children referred to in the promise of God, but just as the one born according to the limited human capabilities persecuted the one born through the Spirit's supernatural power, so it is now. Nevertheless, what does the Tanakh say? Get rid of the slave woman and her son, for by no means will the son of the slave woman inherit along with the son of the free woman. So, brothers, we are children not of the slave woman, but of the free woman. Hebrews chapter 6, 13, verse 13 to 20. And so after waiting patiently, Abraham saw the promise fulfilled. Now people swear oaths to someone greater than themselves, and confirmation by an oath puts an end to all dispute. Therefore, when God wanted to demonstrate still more convincingly the unchangeable character of the intentions to those who would receive what he had promised, he added an oath to the promise. 18. So that through the two unchangeable things, in neither of which God could lie, we who have fled to take a firm hold on the hope set before us would be strongly encouraged. We have this hope as a sure and safe anchor for ourselves, a hope that goes right on through to what is inside the paraclete, where a forerunner has entered on our behalf, namely Yeshua, who has become a Kohanim Godal forever, to be compared with Melchizedek. Yaakov, or James, chapter 2, 4 through 24. James 2. James chapter 2, 14 to 24. Here we go. What good is it, my brothers, if someone claims to have faith but has not action to prove it? Is his faith able to save him? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food, and someone says to him, "Shalom, keep warm and eat hearty," without giving him what he needs. What good does it do? Thus faith by itself, unaccompanied by action, is dead. But someone will say to you, "Have faith and I love action. Show me his faith. Show me this faith of yours without the action, and I will show you my faith by my actions." You believe that God is one. Good for you. The demons believe too. The thought makes them shudder with fear. But foolish fellows, do you want to be shown that such faith apart from actions is barren? Wasn't Abraham Avinu declared righteous because of actions when he offered up his son Yitzhak on the altar? You see that his faith worked with his actions, but the faith was made complete, and the passage of the Tanakh was fulfilled, which says, Abraham had faith in God and was credited to his account as righteousness. He was even called good friend. You see that a person is declared righteous because of actions and not because of faith alone. Let's turn to 2 Peter, verse 4 through 10. Well, 2 Peter 4 through 10. For God did not spare the angels who sinned. On the contrary, he put them in gloomy dungeons, lower than Sheol, to be held for judgment. And he did not spare the ancient world. On the contrary, he preserved Noah, a herald of righteousness, with 7 others, and brought the flood upon the world of ungodly people. And he condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, reducing them to ashes and ruin, as a warning to those in the future who would live ungodly lives. But he rescued Lot, a righteous man who was distressed by the debauchery of those lived among them, tormented his righteous heart day after day. So the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trials and how to hold the wicked until the day of judgment, while continuing to punish them, especially those who follow their old natures in lust especially those who follow their old natures in lust of filth and who despise authority. Presumptuous and self-willed, these false teachers do not tremble at insulting angelic beings. Whereas angels, though stronger and more powerful, do not bring before the Lord an insulting charge against them. Wow. This concludes the Torah reading for this week. Yah, we thank you. We praise your holy name. We give you praise. that you are the one that adds and subtracts. But you add not by our standard, but by your standard. And you subtract not by our standard, but your standard. And Father, you add mercies where there is mercy. And you subtract evil where there is evil. We thank you for your mercies, for they are new every morning. And Lord, we ask that you shine your light onto our path as we walk. We ask that you teach us your truth and your righteousness that you have given us. Teach us. And Lord, we also ask for your shalom to be filled with it, and to be filled with your Ruach HaKodesh, your Holy Spirit, and with your shalom. And we thank you. We ask it in Yeshua's name. Amen. From Torah and Coffee, I bid you shalom until next week.